the Chrysler Portal. One of the brands that is not that often featured in Autogefühl is Chrysler, and the reason is we cannot get those vehicles in Europe, but we are in the US today at the CES, and that gives us the exclusive chance to cover a Chrysler vehicle, and we have this new concept, the Chrysler Portal. And Matt Dunford is joining us. He's the exterior designer for this concept vehicle, and obviously it has a lot of interesting features. Maybe you can fill us in on those.
Yeah, so the first thing you'll notice about the Chrysler Portal concept is the actual door system itself, and that's highlighted by what we call the name of the car, Portal, right? And it was actually, it kind of started its infancy in some of the inspiration and some of the information we collected about millennials, and we found that inner cities are growing very heavily, and with that, tight spaces are going to become even tighter. So we realized maybe your traditional door system would not function as efficiently. So we came up with the dual sliding door feature, which you see on the driver's side, and that really enables us to get in and out of the car in those tight spaces efficiently. And at the same time, we shifted that structure that you usually find on the car into the door. So that structure not being there really kind of helps you get into the car even easier for tall guys like me and you know.
We soon step over to the other side and take a look also at the interior. But first at the exterior, see, that becomes quite common with electric cars, especially at the front. I mean, there's no real grille or any, everything is really covered, streamlined alone, also with the alloys, for example. Also, I think those are supposed to be like anti-rolling resistant tires, right? For that, to reach that, it's about 250 miles of electric range, fully electric vehicle, so 400 kilometers of range approximately. I mean, that's also a task for you that you can work together with the engineers to make those things happen.
Yeah. Usually, sometimes in design, the engineers and designers kind of clash, But on this project, we came together and we worked really well together to come up with viable solutions that made sense from a styling standpoint, but also functioned from an engineering standpoint and functioned efficiently. And that was key here.
So what you thought about when you had the idea, or maybe an engineer say, "Oh, let's remove the side mirrors." Yeah. I mean, it looks, let's say, unique. So, what do you think about it from a design standpoint?
From a design standpoint, it kind of breaks some of the norms, right? And what it does is it kind of highlights the fact that now we have the technology to produce the views that we need to see in and around the car more efficiently. Let's say your traditional rear view mirror. And that's really what we're showcasing here, and that's what the Samsung 360 camera does. It's got 180 degree vision on both sides, so it captures a 360 degree view, which means there's no blind spots anymore on the side of your car. So it really helps the driver understand the situation around him.
And you see that then in the display in the car, then the bridge.
Yep, and then that feeds into the display, which shows everything the driver needs to see, and the passenger can see it too. So
let's switch to the interior. And now we'll take a look at the interior, and also with another expert, because for the interior responsible is Cindy Jewett. And thanks for having us here. And I've heard already that cars a lot of working, for example, with facial recognition to also realize, what I'm maybe up to, who I am, music and stuff. And so how does it work?
Well, that part is best explained on the user experience, Buck. There's a camera here that recognizes your face and sets the profiles, music, ambient lighting, heat, like hot and cold temperature that you like. And so as soon as you get into the vehicle, all of your presettings are there because of that facial recognition. There's also a camera on the front of the dash there too that has similar properties.
So what we see is a very open concept. It's a lounge atmosphere, and also you can see we can slide the seats here around, and a flat bottom. It's of course because it's an electric vehicle. There's no need of a transmission tunnel that leaves us more space then again. And so I mean, you're targeting millennials with this car also, and they might want to change their lifestyle from time to time. So how is it possible with this car?
Exactly. Well, it's not just millennials. We think that everybody, although millennials is the main focus here with their families, we think everyone likes to have a say in how they use their space. And the idea is that you can buy one seat initially and then upgrade to up to 6. So imagine you're a small business owner, you're 20 or 30 years old. Maybe you really only need one seat and the rest of the space you use to help build your business. But, life is what happens when you're making other plans. Maybe you meet someone, fall in love, they're going to want a seat too, right? So you can add that second seat, and maybe if you have children and your family grows. But the best part about this is we think that millennials, we know they're saddled with student debt, especially in this country. They may not have that same amount of expendable income early on in their lives like their families, their parents did. So the idea is that the car can grow with you at different stages of your life and also at different income levels of your life. So the way you can really customize the space is that you're able to use the open cabin without the seats however you choose. We also imagine that if, say, you're an avid bike rider, we imagine modules could click into the floor and hold your bike sturdy, and you can use all that space, for that lifestyle. So we imagine great opportunities commercially with ride sharing, Uber, those kinds of relationships could be great. And also, we know that people who are going to be very interested in autonomous are the elderly, people who can't get around. So something that's big and open and spacious, easy to get in and out of, we see huge potential for that market as well.
And we can see display-wise is very interesting also. So there's no real head-up display that is projected into the screen, but we got this really wide screen concept where you look upright anyway, basically. Then so it's a different concept than with other manufacturers at the moment. And then I think it's a contrasting integration also with the wide display. Yes, so it's.
You don't even need me. You're just perfectly yourself.
I think it looks really nice. And I think the center infotainment screen, is it more like for the co-driver then? That's or.
Okay, so the idea behind the high mount panoramic screen is that it offers all of the elements that the driver needs easy in a heads-up display. Everything that they need, the speed and maybe the charging, power, things like that, is immediately right in front of them. So it's very, that's a really nice position, no eyes moving, it's for safety reasons. But then the idea of it being expansive and panoramic is so everyone in the vehicle can kind of see what's going on. It's not just that small little cockpit anymore. So it's more of a communal experience. And at the center stack, that houses a lot of the touch instruments that the driver would use to make lots of things work throughout the cabin. But also, it's very approachable. It's in the middle there, flat, and very accessible to the passenger as well. So we're trying to open up the space and make it feel more communal, and also at the same time very artful with the technology integrated into these very fluid and sculptural forms. It doesn't feel like that techie, cold, square screen. We want the technology to be the sculpture and the sculpture to be the technology, like a seamless integration, like you said.
Maybe as the last question about the materials being used at Autogefühl, we are always also into sustainability. Is it leatherette, or are you still using real animal skin on the seat here?
No, this is a synthetic leather, and it can be made from recycled materials. We know that they do exist out there, so that's always something we're looking at, is materials that can give you that feeling of the tradition, but they're more forward-reaching than what we're using now. And people often talk about this light open space. Is it practical for families? If there's a way to do it and people love it, we'll do it. So we want to see how people react to that light, open feeling space. And then we feel that this very neutral space really speaks to a generation that enjoys a subtle and sophisticated palette with just a little bit of accent color. Something you won't tire over, Most people don't reach for a bright orange sweater every day, but you might reach for that gray or black sweater 3 times a week. So that's the same kind of idea here, how you would dress yourself. It's like kind of getting into your favorite go-to sweater. So that's our feeling on the palette, and we think if we keep it subtle and sophisticated, it'll reach a really broad audience.
Excellent. Very interesting. Thank you so much. And another very interesting feature is displayed here on this special open model, because you can see it here on the head restraints. They are special speakers, and this is solving a problem I also have myself at home. Because, for example, my wife doesn't like my trance music, but I don't like her, relaxing love music or something like that. And so we sometimes fight then in the car. But then here's the solution. Every passenger gets his or her own music, and Panasonic, those are also the Panasonic guys actually sitting in the car at the moment, they say they have solved this problem and they can create a sound cloud for every single passenger. So 4 people in a car can listen to 4 different styles of music. And now let's test this system. And I got music running here. It's Eminem at the moment. And those speakers really just clear it for my seat. You can hear it here. And also when I put the microphone somewhere else, for example, near to the co-driver seat, you don't hear so much from it actually. That's the key. And I can also switch the seat. And here I don't hear that music from the front very loudly. See it here? Difference again. But I can also play music then again on the other seats here in the rear. So can you put the music on for the rear seat here as well? Here, let's see. So let's see here, personal. Ah, there it is. There it goes. Here. There it is. So I'm hearing the music right here. Of course, there's also the sound from the fare around here now. So it's not like the real world test, but it basically works to have the different kind of music per each seat, and it could be a solution. We will have to test it sometimes maybe in a very clear and silent surrounding when all 4 are really pushed up, if that still works. But so far I think very promising concept. So what do you guys think about the Chrysler Portal? I think it's a very interesting concept and surely maybe one of the most interesting here we've seen at the CES. I mean, from the exterior, we got a design that is, let's say, there's actually one design trend in the electric branch at the moment, you know, obviously without the front grille and so, and then making everything streamlined, and in the inside then lounge atmosphere. So it resembles a little bit each other, but it's also dependent on the building structure of the car, and it also, in a way, makes sense to build the car in that way. And I think we've seen a lot of very interesting ideas with the car, and it's obviously nothing which you say, oh, we have to wait 10 more years to really put it on the road. Every technology that is in this car can actually be rolled out pretty much instantly. So I also think that this should come relatively close to a possible serial model. This will be even more interesting. Give me your feedback and tune in again for Autogefühl.